Hi there, BG. This is Michael from OTC, OnlineTOEFLCourse.com, and you're taking advantage of my free TOEFL speaking evaluation service. So you want to know what your level is between 0 and 30 on the speaking section of the TOEFL IBT exam, correct? Okay, so here's the actual rubrics here. I'm going to try to figure out from 0 to 4 where you are right now, right? And then after, I'll try to give you some explanation of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen. So you're answering the question, is it better to study alone or is it better to study in a group? And I'm going to listen to your practice test. And for the very first time, this is my reaction to what you emailed me.
Definitely. I prefer study in a group over study in alone.
Okay.
If I study in alone, I'll easily get distracted by daydreaming. So to stop getting distracted, studying in a group helps me to focus and concentrate.
Okay.
And study in a group creates a reliable environment to study. Another reason is that if I study in a group, it provides me more knowledge on the same topic, and also it helps me not only to understand but also to remember the concept, and which helps me to get higher score in the exam. So in the end, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I like how you use that term win-win. Okay, so my first impression here is I'm going to put you slightly. I could see some IB team raters giving you a 3, and then maybe somebody might score you in the 2 range. So I'm going to put you slightly below 3, maybe, I don't know, 20 to 22 points out of 30. That would be my guess. My first impression is a lot of pacing issues. A lot. You have a lot of problems blending the words within your thought groups. You're not really changing your tone at all. So that's not very natural here. And I think you also have some grammatical issues. So if I'm guessing right now, I'm going to say between 20 and 22 points. Let's listen to your practice test one more time.
Definitely. I prefer study in a group over study in alone.
I would say I prefer studying in a group over studying alone. So I would use study there as a gerund, in which case you can put ing on the end of the verb. So again, I prefer studying in a group rather than studying alone. That's how I would say that.
If I study in alone,
You said if I study in alone. You don't need to have that preposition before the adverb there. It's not needed. Just say if I study alone.
Easily get distracted by daydreaming. So to stop getting distracted, studying in a group helps me to focus and concentrate.
Okay, now, once you make that statement, can you give an example of when you studied in a group and you were daydreaming and it wasn't very productive, and then give an example where you had fewer distractions when you were studying alone?
As study in a group creates a reliable environment to study. Another reason is that...
No, I mean, I got it backwards. Give me an example where you're daydreaming when you're studying alone, but when you have fewer distractions when you're studying in the group, right?
If I study in a group...
No, it's if I study in a group. No, it's if I study in a group, right? So that's a thought group right there, but you're not blending the words within the thought group, and that, unfortunately, it means problems with pacing, but more choppy rhythm or pace. This is actually better. Here, you have a choppy rhythm and pace. That partly describes your speaking right now.
It provides me more knowledge on the same topic, and also it helps me.
Now, if it gives you more knowledge on the same topic, can you give an example to illustrate that? Say, for example, 2 months ago I was taking a very difficult biology class, and I was trying to learn more about cell division, but I couldn't really get into the topic very much. But after studying with a group, and we studied for 2 days straight, maybe 3 hours each day, I was able to have a much more in-depth understanding of the process of meiosis and mitosis, which are 2 forms of cell division. So you make a lot of general kind of assertions or claims about studying in a group. But when you make the assertions, then you need to support those with specific details, which I don't really see you doing. So what's the trick here? The trick is don't make too many different assertions in a speaking task like this, because every time you make an assertion, you're expected to support that with specific details. So if you say, well, studying group is better because I have fewer distractions and I can score higher on my exams, now you've made two assertions. You're saying studying in group has fewer distractions, right? So you have to support that with detail. Then you say, well, studying in a group will help me to score higher on my tests. Then you must support that with an example. So if you only make two assertions or two claims, that's very easy to support with specific supporting detail. However, if you make 5 or 6 different claims within that speaking task, but you don't support any of those claims within any details, then you get into the problem in the 2 where it says mostly basic ideas are expressed with limited elaboration and support. You see that? So, and you don't want them to think that, because they're looking at these rubrics when they're scoring your task, and they're directed and they're trained on how to score your response. So don't give them any reasons to score you any lower than what you should be scored. All right, let's keep
not
going.
only to understand but also to remember the concept,
I'll say not only to understand, but also to remember the concept.
which helps me to get higher score in the exam. So in the end, it's a win-win situation for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna adjust your score slightly. The more I listen to it, the more problems that I see. So I'm going to put you in the middle between 2 and 3, 2.5 maybe. I'm going to say 18, 19 points out of 30. I think that's my final adjustment. You asked me in the email, what can you do? I think with delivery, you need to improve with, I'm going to call this sentence rhythm. You need to improve your sentence rhythm. You need to improve your intonation, and you need to improve your thought groups and blending, which the TOEFL calls pacing. Now, I have TOEFL lessons to help you in every single all these areas. Language use, sometimes you have that one problem, study versus studying. So differentiating verbs from gerund phrases, or what we call verbals. You can probably work on that a little bit. I think with topic development, you have some huge problems. You want to make sure that you're supporting your claims or assertions with details. I think you can do better in that area also. All right, and thank you for completing this free TOEFL speaking evaluation. And now you'll notice in the email that you're looking at right now, right below my name, I have some services. If you're on a really tight budget and you don't want to spend thousands of dollars in an intensive English program, I have a great alternative for you, and it will not bust your budget. I have TOEFL private lessons. You can check out the link. I have a TOEFL speaking and writing feedback service you may be interested in, and I even have online TOEFL courses to help you. For example, I have a TOEFL speaking bootcamp course. However, I only recommend that course if your subtotal reading, listening, and writing subtotal scores are already very high, and you only need to make improvements in your speaking. That's the only reason I would recommend that course. All right, and thank you for doing this speaking practice test.